Good morning, everyone. So thank you so much for attending the entering the middle way class. First, so this is a Dharma class. We must have pure motivation for achieving Buddhahood. Therefore, we need to practice the two important practices. First, practice of methods, which is bodhicitta. Second is practice of wisdom, the wisdom which realizes emptiness. In order to practice the wisdom, we need to realize emptiness. In order to realize emptiness, we need to study about emptiness. There are so many textbook teaching about emptiness. Among the teachings, the teaching taught by Chandrakirti, which is entering the middle way, Umala Jukpa, is one of the most important stainless teaching. Therefore, so we will start the teaching from it. Therefore, please everybody cultivate pure and great motivation. So we're going to study the teaching not for just be happy about this life. We're going to study the teaching not only for free from the hindrance about our daily life. We're going to study the text not for achieving liberation for only our own benefits. So we're going to study the teaching for becoming Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Therefore, please cultivate bodhicitta. So before we start the new lesson, which is second bhumi, the ground of stainless, I'll do short revision about the first bhumi. From the first ground, we will go through the sentence number 9. At this point, the first cause of full awakening, the perfection of generosity, will become permanent, committed to giving away even his very flesh. Giving become a sign to infer his unseen qualities. The Bodhisattva, when he reached to the first bhumi, he became very master about generosity, because first time the Bodhisattva seen the emptiness by direct perception. Therefore, for him, everything looked like illusion in the reality. Therefore, when he gave his flesh he doesn't have any sense of discouragement, sense of angry. He give away even his flesh because the generosity is one of the most important cause for achieving full awakening state. Therefore, he has very unique quality about giving his own flesh. This one, we cannot see the quality, but we can see the practitioner has this kind of, encouragement through sign. The generosity is not only producing the result into the enlightened state, also bring or produce the result in samsara. Therefore, the 1.10, all living beings eagerly yearning for happiness, right? Include us. We, everybody, eagerly yearn for happiness. Yet, for human, there is no happiness without resources. In the samsara, all our happiness very much depend on resources. When our practice goes more higher level, then our happiness not much depend on resources. The average being who are always want to be happy, their happiness very much depend on resources. Without resources, average sentient being cannot be happy. They cannot have a happiness. So how they can have resources for happiness? Therefore, material resources in turn come about from generosity. Knowing this, the Buddha spoke on generosity. Therefore, the 1.10 is mainly explained. Practice of generosity is very important for all sentient beings who are still in samsara. Therefore, knowing this, the Buddha spoke on generosity first. Therefore, among the 6 perfections, first, the perfection of generosity. Through practice of generosity, also we can achieve happiness in the higher state. When we be generous, when we giving something to someone, first it is important to have the proper motivation, proper gesture, but without proper motivation, if you giving something to someone, still it can has a result. Therefore, 1.11, those with weak compassion, they don't have a compassion, they never think other, they only think about their benefits. Only thinking about their benefits, when they give something, they can have a result. Not only that, and the ruthless mind. When they give something with a rude attitude, with an angry attitude, also they can get the benefits. Therefore, ruthless minds who seek their own welfare with enthusiasm, even for them, their welfare, their desire will come from generosity. So in order to have the result of generosity, first, it is important to have proper motivation, proper attitude. If you have an improper attitude, if you have a very weak compassion, within the weak compassion, within the improper motivation, when you give something to someone, you can help, you can help the well-being, you can help the result. Therefore, from generosity, of course, there relieves sufferings. So without having more proper motivation, when you offer something to someone, other people can be relieved from suffering. Also, in your next life, in your future, you can have the result of generosity. So 1.11 is talking about the very normal, simple practice of generosity. Be generous. Then 1.12 also telling us the result of practicing generosity can be repeated in the liberation state. Indeed, it is through the practice of generosity that he will swiftly, at some point, meet the Arya. He will then cut the continuum of cyclical existence, and as a result, he will journey to the state of peace. For example, this moment, we are very ordinary being. So when we practice generosity with a proper motivation, then through our practice of generosity in the future, so we will meet our heart. Then we will receive teaching from him or her. Then through them, we can go all the way to the peace, which is the liberation of Buddhahood. So first is explain the generosity, practice of generosity, the Bodhisattva who reached to the first bhumi. Then 1.11 is told without proper motivation, without proper attitude. If you offering something to someone, still you can get the benefits. 1.12, within the proper motivation, when you offer something to someone, due to the result of generosity, one day you will meet a arhat, then you will receive the teaching, then you will practice the teaching, then slowly you will reach to the journey to the state of peace. 1.13 is explained very important, unique practice of Bodhisattva, the unique practice of Bodhisattvas. 1.13, those who keep in mind their pledge to help sentient beings without much delay, attain joy through their generosity, since it's for both the compassionate and one who is not. This discourse on generosity is primary. So among the 1.13, there's four lines. The first two lines explain how the Bodhisattva practice generosity. There's next two lines explain, practice generosity with a compassion mind, not compassion mind. Those who keep in mind their pledge, they have a commitment to helping sentient beings without much delay. So attain the joy through their generosity. So Bodhisattvas have a great motivation. Through great motivation, when he or she practice generosity without delay, so he attain the joy through the generosity. So whether you are compassionate or not compassionate, the practicing generosity is very important. It's explained by, to the last two sentences. 13. Then 1.14. What kind of feeling Bodhisattva has when he or she practice generosity? If simply hearing about thinking of praise give me, bring such as joys to the children of the concourse. Joy not experienced even by our hearts who enter into the peace. What need is there to speak of the joy when giving away everything? So, Bodhisattvas, he have a very solid commitment to practicing generosity. All the practitioner can see practicing generosity is one of the important causes to achieve Buddhahood. Therefore, a Bodhisattva, when he hears somebody say, give me something, he feels so joy, have a sense of, great joyness. Then not only just hearing, so when he or she actually offering something to someone, he will have a more joyness, more great happiness. The great joyness, the great happiness you cannot compare with the Hinayan practitioner who reached to the liberation state. The Hinayan practitioner, he or she, when they first time reach to the nirvana state, the liberation, achieve the liberation, we can imagine what kind of joyness, he or she has. Because they are completely free from samsara. They are completely free from cause of samsara. They feel so happy. The Bodhisattva feel more happy, has a more happiness than the Hinayan practitioner who achieved liberation. Right? Therefore, speak of the joy when giving away everything. So then there's let's say a question. So when Bodhisattva gives his flesh, hands and legs, does he has a suffering or not? This is a question. Therefore, the answer is the sentence number 1.15. It looks like answering. Cutting this body and giving it away, he sees from his own pen, the pen of others, such as their birth in the hells, as if he were undergoing this situation himself. Thus swiftly he started to cut away all their pens. So Bodhisattva, so who reached to the first bhumi, when he cut his flesh, when he cuts his part of body, yes, he can see the suffering. He can feel the suffering. Of course, he or she has a feeling. He has a feeling. He can feel the suffering, but he never feel discouraged. He or she never feel very unhappy, disturbance, because look like the Bodhisattva look like practicing, giving and taking. He's giving on his happiness, taking suffering from all sentient beings, particularly the hell beings. That he was comparing cutting the suffering which is I have cutting through my flesh and hands, the suffering which is experience in the hell being, for my suffering is nothing. So he can feel the pain and suffering, but he never feel discouraged. He never feel unhappy. He never feel it's too much. He feels so happy about cutting the flesh. So this is very particular, experience of Bodhisattva who already reached to the first bhumi. Therefore, cutting his body and giving it away, he sees from his own pain the pain of others, such as the bird in the hells, as if he were undergoing this situation himself. Thus swiftly he stopped to cut away all their pains. Also, this kind of, we can apply our daily life. Because Singapore weather is, always hot, humidity, then many people feel very unhappy. Many people has a lot of complaint about the weather. That moment, if you remember, if you visualize the suffering of the, hell being, compare their suffering and your suffering, then you can see your suffering actually is nothing. Your suffering look like more happiness. Therefore, he stopped to cut away all their pains. 1.15. So what kind of, how many types of practice of generosity there? There's two kinds of mandans and supermandans. Then 1.16, introduce us the supermandan practice of generosity. Generosity devoid from gift, receiver, and giver is called supermandan perfections. But when attachment for these three arises, it is then said to be the mandan's perfection. So there's two kinds of practitioner. One practitioner, when he or she practices generosity, he or she realizes these three things, emptiness of the three things, emptiness of the giver, emptiness of the recipient, emptiness of the thing which is giving. So this is called, the super mandan's perfections. If you have an attachment about you or the recipient, the things which you're going to give away, then this is called the mandan's perfections. Again, I guess, any of us, we haven't realized emptiness, but we just remember when you offering something to someone, even though when you offer, when you make offering to the Buddhas, remember, my nature is emptiness. Who I'm offering, the object which is I'm going to offer, it also the nature is emptiness. The offering who going to receive, whom we going to offer, is also emptiness. We just turn our mind this way. Mandans and supermandans. Then the last sentence is kind of conclusion. Abiding perfectly in the Bodhisattva's mind and endowed with the light, beautifying the Sublime One. This ground of perfect joy is water crystal gem, the moon, which dispel the all darkness and shine victorious. The Bodhisattva who reached to the first bhumi, he practiced 6 perfections. but he is very master about the first perfections. He totally reduced the stinginess. He totally reduced the attachment with all belongings. This is the, about first bhumi, first ground or first bhumi. Second ground, also in Buddhist term, for example, bodhicitta, we can name bhumi, we can name path, we can name path, bhumi, and earth. Why we name path? The bodhisattva, we name path. So bodhicitta, all the bodhicitta also, and so we name path. So in order to reach your destination, we need to go through the path. Therefore, bodhicitta, the six perfections, renunciations, those are look like a path to reach to your destiny, whether liberation or Buddha, that we call path. So when you walk on the paths, make sure your feet move on the right directions. While you are walking on the road, if your mind distracts somewhere, then you fall over, you fall down. Therefore, when we practice the path, make sure our minds not go underground, under control of negative thoughts. We call path. Then we call bhumi, is Sanskrit. Bhumi, like ground, land, as we can say land. Whatever we have, the medicine, like medicinal plant, the poison plant, both of them is grow on the land. Human being or non-human being, everything exists on the land. Therefore, the path is look like a land, is look like a ground, because all the good qualities of the Buddhas, good qualities of the Bodhisattva, good qualities of the Arhat, good qualities of the Hera and solitary realizer, all good qualities they have, those arise through practice of the path, practice of the bodhicitta, renunciation, so and so. Therefore, we call ground, path, earth. So, the bodhisattva who already first time who reached to the first bhumi, he or she practice six perfection, particularly he or she become very master about the first perfection, because he or she can see directly everything look like illusion, look like dream. Therefore, somebody cut their hands and legs, they feel suffering, then for them it look like illusion. Therefore, first bhumi. The second bhumi, the second ground, we call the stinless. Particularly, the bodhisattva, when he reached to the second bhumi, then he or she become very master about practicing ethical discipline, practicing, morality. That means first bhumi, very unique about practicing generosity. Second is very unique about practicing ethical discipline. So it's the second bhumi. He mean again the bodhisattva who are reached to the second bhumi, second ground. He endowed with the perfect morality and purity. Perfect morality and purity. Even in dream, of course, during the awakening, even though in dreams, he shown the sin of immorality. Right? He shows the sin of morality. Since all movement of his body, speech, and mind are pure, he accumulates the excellent virtues of all 10 course of actions. Right? So what is the uniqueness of the second bhumi? So Bodhisattva who reached to the second bhumi, he has a very uniqueness about practicing morality. Very perfect morality, very pure morality, because he doesn't have any, like a stain. All the stain he totally shown, even though in the dream. Therefore, the body, speech, mind are very pure. Therefore, he, the practitioner, he accumulates the excellent virtues of all 10 course of actions. So for us, all the 10 virtues actions, we accumulate one by one. We cannot accumulate 10 together in the same time. But the Bodhisattva who reached to the second bhumi, he can accumulate the 10 virtues action simultaneously in a same time, because his body becomes very pure. He totally free from the non-physical virtues. His mind becomes very pure. Therefore, his mind is totally free from the four non-speech virtues. His mind becomes very pure. Therefore, his mind is completely free from the 3 mental non-virtues. Among the 10 virtues or non-10 virtues, from bodily 3, verbally 4, mentally 3. We sometimes, bodily we can be pure, but verbally, mentally we cannot be pure. Also, below the second bhumi, the Bodhisattva not always be pure. Therefore, he endowed with the perfect morality and purity. Even in the dreams, he shows the stain of morality. Since all moments of his body, speech, and mind are pure, he accumulates the excellent virtues of all 10 course of actions. Then next one, 2.2 is explained. The Bodhisattva who reached to the second bhumi, he or she is very unique about practicing morality. Not only this part of the virtues, but in all 10 deeds, he becomes most excellent and pure, just as the radiant autumn moon adorned with the night sky. Morality adorned with him peace and radiance. That means he becomes look like very pure, look like moon, no any still any parts of the moon. Therefore, 2.2 explain the unique practice of morality, the Bodhisattva who reached to the second bhumi. So what is the cause to have the pure, perfect morality? The first reason, he, even in dream, is shown the strength of morality. So pure and impure morality, it depends on the negative thoughts. Let's say everybody already has taken the Bodhisattva vows. We have the Bodhisattva vow. Then sometimes we feel, oh, I'm angry with this person. I want to harm, right? When you think I want to harm, I want to argue, that time you already have a sense of hatred is arise. Then your morality becomes very impure, imperfect. Therefore, Bodhisattva doesn't have any kinds of this kind of negative things which is against with the vows. Therefore, he or she has a perfect and pure morality. The second, what kind of cause to have a very pure, perfect morality? So therefore, the sentence number 2.3, should he, through pure, sin in terms of the intrinsic nature, his morality will remain impure. Because of this, thus with respect to all three elements of the discipline, he always remains free from follow of the dualistic thoughts. First sentence, look at. Should he, through pure, see in terms of intrinsic nature, his morality will remain impure because of this. Thus, with respect to all three elements of discipline, he always remains free from flow of the dualistic thoughts. Again, the Bodhisattva who reached to the first bhumi, for him, the giver, the recipient, the gift, he can perceive is totally inherent, empty of inherent existence. The second, the Bodhisattva, when he reached to the second bhumi, he not just free from all the negative thoughts, which is cause to have a impure morality. When he practiced ethical discipline, he particularly focused on emptiness of the three things. The person who practiced ethical discipline, the practice which is he or she practice, whom he or she practice ethical discipline. Three things he totally see free of the flow of dualistic thoughts. This is the second cause to have a pure ethical discipline. Then, in the first bhumi, he also mentioned, through practice of generosity, you can have the result into the higher realms. So in order to experience, in order to have the result in the higher realms, we need to practice ethical discipline. Otherwise, due to the negative karma, you are born into lower realms, you can have a lot of wealth, but you are not really experience the happiness result of generosity. in order to experience, in order to enjoy the result of generosity in the higher realms, we need to practice ethical discipline. Therefore, the sentence number 2.4 is very important. Wealth through the generosity is found even in the lower realms. This occurs when one has fractured the leg of the morality, leg of the morality. When interest in a capital itself are both exhausted, no purpose remains for the one in future wealth. So what happened? Somebody only practice generosity, not practicing ethical discipline. Right? That means, look, wealth through generosity is found even in the lower realms. How and why? This occurs when one has fractured the leg of morality. They practice generosity, they totally become careless about practicing morality. Therefore, he or she born in the lower realms, he can have the wealth. Then what happened, the being who are in the lower realms, who has a lot of wealth, when interest and capital itself are both exhaust, that means he accumulated a lot of merit in the previous life. So since the being born in the lower realms, he will exhaust the capital which he or she accumulated in the past. He cannot get any interest because he cannot accumulate any new kind of, positive actions. Therefore, he totally going to exhaust it. No prospect remain for one of any future wealth. So this is, I think, everybody must remember. Right now, we have all the necessary, condition. We have a house. We have a car. We have more than enough food and clothes. We have a healthy body. We have all kinds of resources. We have enough resources. According to Buddhist tradition, we believe all the necessities, resources are result of practicing generosity. That means in the previous life, we practiced generosity, therefore we have all the resources here. If we stop to practice, if we stop to be generous, then next life, we won't have anything. Therefore, we said, a mini master says, and this life is not the life for enjoying the result of the previous life, positive actions. This life is the life for accumulating more positive actions. Also, particularly, they said, this life is not the life just enjoying the result of generosity. This life is the time for accumulate more result, more cause for wealth in the next life. Therefore, look at generally when you receive your monthly salary, yes, you enjoy maybe more than half. Also, you deposit in bank. Therefore, because you think that in the future, I can enjoy the capital, also I can enjoy the interest. Therefore, since right now, you have the wealth. Among the wealth, you must enjoy yourself, half of them. Also, little bit, you must give away to benefit others. That means you are depositing, you are depositing the capital for next life. Therefore, 2.4, it is so important to practice ethical discipline. Otherwise, next life you born in the lower realms, you will exhaust all your, resort of the generosity. You won't have any more wealth. The next sentence number 2.5. So this sentence, when you go to Tibetan monastery, is very common. They write this sentence, I think, many in front of the door of the monasteries. Also, these are very common phrase many masters recite when they give a teaching. If when free and living with favorable condition, so like we are, like if when free and living with the favorable conditions, we do not return this status we enjoy, we will fall into the abyss and be at the mercy of the others. What could enable us to rise up again from such a state? We do not, retain this state we enjoy. That means right now we are totally free from, all the unfavorable condition. So this is, we can really believe, we can really think among our lives, how many lives we have taken, the numberless. Among our lives, millions of billions of lives, among our lifetime, this is the best life we have. Because this is the life, is a very important training point. Whether you go up, whether you go down. If we miss the good opportunity, so we will be go, down continuously many eons, look like forever. If we take this good opportunity to start to go up, then continuously we can go up, and one day we will achieve liberation. Therefore, this sentence is saying, look at, when free and living with a favorable condition, we do not retain this status we enjoy. We will fall into abyss and be the mercy of others. What could enable us to rise up again from such a stress? So nobody knows. When we fall into lower realms, nobody really can save us. Therefore, this is very important. It's kind of advice by Chandrakirti for us. Therefore, the next sentence, why it is so important to teach ethical discipline after the generosity. Therefore, the 2.6. Therefore, having engaged in the discourse on generosity, the Buddha proceeded to the discourse on the morality. And when qualities spring up in the fulfill of the morality, enjoyment of the fruits will become continuous. So look at generosity, then Buddha teach us practice of morality. The practice of morality is when quality of spring up in the field of the morality. That means morality is look like spring. When the spring weather is very good, then all the fruits will be good. The spring weather is too cold, too hot, too dry, then we should not have a hope to have a good fruits, good harvest. So therefore, in order to have a the good result of generosity, we must have the ethical discipline. Therefore, having engaged in the discourse of generosity, the Buddha proceeded to the discourse on the morality. And when qualities spring up in the field of morality, enjoyment of their fruits of the generosity will become continuous. It's almost 11. I think we can stop today here. 2.6. Okay, before we start second section, question answer, does anybody have any question about this morning lesson? No, maybe no, right? I guess no.
Hello, good morning, Geshe La.
Good morning.
Geshe La, I have a question regarding the 1.15 stanza.
1.1 from the
1.15.
Okay.
Generosity.
1.15. Okay.
Yeah. This sounds like a silly question. Okay. If the first ground bodhisattva is request cutting the tongue, will the tongue regrow? If the tongue don't regrow, I was wondering how to propagate Dharma. Thank you, Geshe La.
Through the intense dedication, Samantha prayers. About in the this sentence, right? 1.5. Which sentence, please?
1.15.
Oh, you're talking from Lamrim?
No, I'm talking about middle way.
1.1. Okay, 1.1. Okay, 14, 15. Okay, 1.15. Cutting his body and giving it away. Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if request to cut the tongue, and then will the tongue regrow? If it doesn't regrow, then I was wondering how does the Bodhisattva propagate the Dharma?
Look at Bodhisattva deeds. Bodhisattva deeds is there are so many different kinds of deeds, different kinds of actions. Giving teaching also one of the action. Benefit sentence can be benefit by giving teaching, can be benefit by offering body, can be benefited by offering like wealth and so and so. Or Bodhisattva, when he giving his flesh like tongue, he will check. It is very necessary. He won't have a second thoughts. Then how I can give a teaching? It won't have a second thought. He just give his tongue. For example, Arya Deva, right? Arya Deva, son of the Nagarjuna. Son doesn't mean biologically son. Nagarjuna and Arya Deva, Arya Dev. I tell you the story because there were a big debate between Buddhist and Hindu at the Nalanda. The Hindu master was very good in debate. Then there was a big debate. Then all the Nalanda master was very worried they're going to lose the debate. They really wanted to invite Nagarjuna That time there wasn't, like a phone, computer, nothing. How they can send message? There's a, I think, different way. Somehow, Nagarjuna received the message from Nalendra. Then Arya Deva said, I don't think you need to go. I will go to Nalendra for debating with the non-Buddhists, the Hindus. Then Nagarjuna said, before you go there, why not? I will test you. I will test about your talent. I test about your debates. Then Nagarjuna answered all the answers based on the Hindu tradition. He really stand as a Hindu. Then the Nagarjuna was really debating with Arya Deva debate with the Nagarjuna. Then somehow Nagarjuna really hold the view very strongly as a Hindu. Then Arya Deva thought, must be my teacher actually is Hindu. Then he get a bit angry. Then he take off his shoes. Then he just, put on his hat, Nagarjuna hat. Then Nagarjuna said, wait. I think when you go to Nalanda, you will win the debate. You are good in debate. You can go. But on the way, you will have a problem. You will face a problem. Then on the way, he met a child, father with a child. The father was blind. Then the child asked Arya Deva, can I have your eyes for my father? So he was on the way to Nalanda for debating with the Hindus masters. When he know the boy was asking eyes for his father, he didn't think, he need to go to Nalanda for debate. He said, it's okay, I will offer my eyes. Then the son, a doctor, they take his eyes. Look at compassionate person when they, come to a situation, they never think, if I give my eyes, I cannot see books, I cannot see teaching, I cannot see Dharma books. Then I won't have other opportunity to study Dharma. He just think, whatever benefit, I will do it. So somebody asks for tongue, they will cut the tongue. They never consider, how I can give a teaching because of very compassionate. Yes.
Geshe, can I add on?
Yes, please.
I was wondering, then in that case, it is like spontaneous without any logic and reason. Am I wrong to say that?
No. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Any question related to the entry into middle way?
Yes,
Geshe, we have 3 more questions regarding for today's topic. Charlie, please.
Geshe, could you please explain 2.3? I still don't quite understand the topic on this 2.3, especially on the dualistic thoughts.
Okay, 2.3, right?
Yes.
2.3. Okay, should he through pure sin in terms of the intrinsic nature? His morality will remain impure because of this. Therefore, any practitioner, for example, when he practices morality, be moral, right? Be moral. That time, when he say I must be maintained my vows. I must practice morality. When I say I, that time the practitioner cling I as an independent I. Independent I. Then the practitioner cannot have a very pure ethical discipline. Yes, when he said, I will practice ethical discipline, that time the practitioner can realize emptiness of I. But second, when he thinks, I will practice the ethical discipline, when he holds clinging ethical discipline as an independent ethical discipline, then again, he or she cannot have a perfect ethical discipline, because he or she perceives me as an independent me. Ethical discipline is as an independent, inherent ethical discipline. Therefore, they cannot have a perfect, very pure ethical discipline. Then second, look at why the Bodhisattva who reached to the second bhumi, why he has a very pure ethical discipline. Therefore, look at free of flow of dualistic thoughts. He doesn't have a duality. I is a empty of inherent existence. Also, he sees I as a empty of inherent. The discipline which he practices, it also in the reality empty of inherent existence. Also, he sees things as it is. Therefore, he doesn't have a duality thoughts. Things exist empty of inherently, perceived not empty of inherent existence. This means duality. So Bodhisattva who reached to the second bhumi, he doesn't have a dualistic with any phenomena, particularly practitioner and the practice ethical discipline, practice for whom the three things he perceived as a empty of inherent existence. Therefore, due to that reason, he or she has a pure ethical discipline, perfect ethical discipline. Quite clear?
Okay, I clear on the dualistic thought. How about the three elements of discipline?
Three elements, okay. Do you remember three elements of the generosity? Giver, giving things, recipient. Three. When you practice ethical discipline, you are the practitioner. One element. Second, what you are practicing, I am practicing ethical discipline is the second element. When you practice ethical discipline, whom you practice ethical discipline? And practice ethical discipline for others. Therefore, three elements mean practitioner, ethical discipline practice for whom. This means, three mean the practitioner, first, second, ethical discipline, third, whom he or she practice ethical discipline. That's what three elements.
Thank you, Geshe.
Welcome. Next question.
Geshe, okay, can I refer back to your explanation on 1.15? I might have misunderstood your explanation.
1.15, right?
About, yes, Bodhisattva give away the body, right?
Yeah.
So I copied down something you said, like Bodhisattva, when he suffer while giving away his body, because he has always been practicing giving and taking, therefore he has no suffering. And then you add on to say that here we are referring to the first Bhumi Bodhisattva. In this phrase 1.15, the Bodhisattva we are talking about is referring to the first Bhumi Bodhisattva. And the first Bhumi Bodhisattva, when he gives away his body, he because he thinks that how being suffering is much worse than his, therefore he has no suffering. My question is, I thought first Bhumi Bodhisattva has already realized emptiness. He acquired mental body. Therefore, when he gave away his body, I thought he should not have any physical suffering. So if he has no physical suffering, why does he need to think that his suffering is worse than the hell being?
I think this one you are mistaken. Experience suffering as a suffering is different. Of course, when the Buddhist, somebody cut, his hand and legs, or maybe he cut himself. Of course, he have a feeling. Somebody cut, his flesh, he feels suffering. He feels pain. But he never considered the pain as a pain, the pain as a suffering. Because he compare the suffering which he is experiencing through cutting his flesh, compared with the suffering the hell being. When he compared these two suffering, for him, the suffering which he experienced is nothing.
So this Bodhisattva, this category of Bodhisattva is ordinary Bodhisattva or Arya being?
Is Arya being.
But I thought Arya being has already achieved mental body. So when he gave away his body, there was no suffering.
Okay. May I ask you, where did you find the Bodhisattva first Bhumi, who reached to the first Bhumi? He already reached the mental body. What does mean mental body?
Mental body. Okay, I think mental body.
No. You should not say I think. You should not say I guess. You must say this text, this and this text mention he has the mental body.
I cannot remember the text quotation.
Okay, so please you can tell next time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And also, there's a common advice that the Buddha gave, like only people who have realized emptiness directly can give away the body. Ordinary Bodhisattva should not give away his body because, for example, Arya Sariputra's story, he gave out his bodhicitta. So yeah.
No, it's not. I don't think it's correct. Even though before the Bodhisattva reached to the first Bhumi, even though before become an Arhat, there's so many story based on the Buddha life story. One time Buddha Shakyamuni was, I think, in the forest in around this day in Nepal. You remember there's a mountain named called Giving Flesh to the Tiger. So he was practicing Dharma. So he saw there was a tiger mother as a few cubs, few like baby. The mother was so weak. He didn't have enough milk to feed the cub, the baby. Then the mother was very weak. The babies are also very weak. Then the Bodhisattva, he thought, oh, I wish they can eat my body. Therefore, he went, close to the tiger. He just slept next to the tiger. The tiger was so weak, he cannot really bite. Then what the Bodhisattva did, he just tear his flesh, skin, and offer the blood. Finally, he gave his body there. Therefore, as a beginner, we say better don't give away your flesh. There's a dangers to decline your bodhicitta. There's so many Bodhisattvas who are mentally very strong. They can give away their flesh, not necessarily to reach to the Arhat state. No. Even though, you know, this day I think there was a monk, he's willingly giving one of his kidney to someone. He's very young, but he's willing to give his kidney. We don't know he reached to the Arhat state or not. He's giving the kidney, why not the flesh? Therefore, we said generally advice should not. If you are mentally stable, you are mentally very stable, it's okay, you can give away your flesh, your everything. Okay? Okay, any question related to this class? Otherwise, we start the...
Hi, Genla. There is one more question.
Okay.
It's about stanza 2.3. I didn't understand what you said. I'm confused because the Bodhisattva already sees the three spheres, the gift, the giver, the receiver, as empty of inherent existence at the first bhumi. So if he's already realized the three spheres are empty, wouldn't that automatically mean that the three spheres are empty at the second bhumi as well?
Yes, you are very correct. The question is also, you know, very important. I can see the logics. Bodhisattva was, when he reached to the first bhumi, he can see emptiness of all phenomena, right? Emptiness of the ethical discipline, emptiness of the person who practice ethical discipline. Yes, they can see emptiness of all phenomena through direct perception. But when he reached to the second bhumi, while he was in the first bhumi, he perceived emptiness of all phenomena, but sometimes there's a time to arise the negative thoughts, which is against with the ethical discipline, which is cause to decline the ethical discipline, right? Ethical discipline. So since he reached he reached to the second bhumi. Also, please remember, everybody, first, second, third bhumi is not depend how long and they practice the emptiness. Emptiness, okay? They promote to first bhumi to second bhumi, second to third, morely about the deeds, the actions. Therefore, the Bodhisattva who reached to the second bhumi, he already seen things and emptiness of the three elements. Not only see the emptiness of three elements, he totally reduce, you know, the negative thoughts which you cause to decline about the ethical discipline. There's a two kind of elements there to have pure ethical discipline. If you have the book, I'm not sure, somebody said this commentary by Lama Tsongkhapa is translated into English. Somebody say yes, somebody say no, I really don't know. If you have the book, please read about particularly this matter.
Okay, thanks. I'm still a bit confused, but if anyone knows what the book's called, can you put it in the chat window for me? Thank you.
I think it's explore indeed of the Buddha. I think explore indeed of the Nagarjuna. No, sorry, like Uma Bhombarapse, right? In English, exploring. I think you check with our Dharma friend. I think they know the book's name in English.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, most welcome. Any question? No, right? So I will go through the previous question. We have still enough time. Okay, I think I need to use my phone. Okay, previous question. Konji, can you read the first question?
Yes. Our first question is from Lian Chu. My request to Geshe to help us understand what His Holiness said with regards to his own practice, reciting daily verses 7 and 8 of the three principal aspects of the path. His Holiness said, when he recites verse 8, he finds it useful to switch from mothers to himself or to oneself to generate the supreme mind bodhicitta. Geshe, can you please explain?
Okay. This one, from the aspect of three principles, right?
Yes. Verse 7 and 8.
Yes, after the verse 3, without pure renunciation, right? Then the number 4, I think number 4 is how to practice renunciation, right? So then he bring the, I think the verses number 7, okay? After the 4th, he recite the verse number 7 and 8 in order to cultivate renunciation. Therefore, swept by the current of the four power of rivers, tied by strong bond of karma so hard to undo, caught in the iron and nest of self-grasping, completely enveloped by the darkness of ignorance, then born into reborn. They say, generate the supreme mind. Then he said, you need to change the last sentence. Generate the renunciation. These are verses number, the idea about the, from the verses number 7 and 8. You can be applied for generating renunciation when they apply on their, himself, let's say myself, then I can cultivate renunciation. The whole idea about from the verses number 7 and 8, I apply for others, then I can have a compassion. Apply for on me, I can cultivate renunciations. Therefore, for the bodhicitta, you can say, generate the supreme mind of bodhicitta. Generate the renunciation. Also, you need to change the sentence. Thinking of your mother in this condition, then generate the supreme mind. Thinking of you, this situation, then you can generate renunciation. Clear? Thinking of you in this situation, generate renunciation. Thinking of your mothers in this situation, generate bodhicitta. So what he said, 7 and 8 verses you bring after you recite after verses number 4 in order to generate renunciation. So this is what His Holiness said. Clear, Lenchu?
Thank you, Shila. Thank you. Thank you.
Next question.
Good morning, Geshe. His Holiness mentioned sleep is a variable mental factor. Why is it variable? Can you explain? Thank you. This question comes from Phyllis Wong.
Not only sleep, regret, doubt, or what do you call it in English? Konji, can I have?
Analysis and investigation.
No. What's the word? Is a flexible?
Variable, Geshe-la.
Huh?
Variable. Why is it variable?
Variable, right? Variable
Yeah.
means changeable, right? Changeable.
Yeah.
Sleep. I told you right many times in Lamrim class. Before you sleep, if you have a positive mental, you need to generate positive mental altitude. You need to learn how to sleep within the positive mental altitude. If you're able to sleep with a positive mental altitude, then all your sleeping is become positive. If you're going to sleep with a negative mental altitude, if you sleep, through the negative mental attitude, all your sleeping become negative. Therefore, sleeping can be positive, can be positive, can be negative. Then doubt also can be positive, can be negative. If you have a doubt, there must be no like a law of causality. There must be no, there's a karma or not. There may be no karma, no next life. It's a doubt, it's negative. Right? Then you have another doubt, can be positive. Oh, somebody say there's a no next life. Maybe there's a next life. Maybe there's a karma. Maybe there's a 3 jewels. Then the doubt will be positive. Regret also can be positive, can be negative. If you have a regret about what you have done good things, is a regret, the regret can be negative. If you have a regret mind, what you have done bad things, then the regret can be like a positive. It's same, second and last two. Therefore, it's a changeable. Because it can be changed into other, yeah. Therefore, reason that. Next question, please.
Next question is from Pik Fong. In regards with the lady's question that is actually a Cindy Payne, questions about reincarnation that numbers of beings keep increasing. Can Geshe-la help to enlighten the explanation from His Holiness? Thank you.
Okay, what I feel that time, so you asked a question, why human being number is increasing, right? If there's no new life, is like circle, then why the human life, number of human life is increasing, the population is increasing? Then I think, that time, what I feel, His Holiness didn't hear the question very clearly. So for you, my answer for you, the human and like a non-human beings, I'm not saying non-human, human and non-human being is also circle. There are so many non-human beings died, then take into human life. Therefore, we can see the human number is increasing because we have the number of human, we have the number of population. We cannot see, say the fish, the number of fish is increasing because we don't have a number. Also, there are so many human beings, maybe previous life, they were animal, then born as a human. There's so many human beings, they born from the other like continents. Yes, therefore, yeah, the human and non-human being is like a circle. Sometimes you can say human beings become more higher, sometimes you can say less. When they become less, they take other realms. So this, I the answer for you. Yeah. Next question, please.
Next question from Li Hui.
Mm-hmm.
Can can please help us understand on His Holiness' explanation on how grasping of aggregates equals to grasping of I, and how he sees he doesn't exist and fear arises. This is his response to Fiza's question on how we analyze whole is made of parts, objectification, but we are to negate objectively.
Okay, the first part, self-grasping of I, self-grasping of aggregates. Okay, so there's two kinds of aggregates. So two kinds of grasping. But he didn't say it's equally, right? I don't think His Holiness, when he respond, he said the true grasping is, can you repeat the first part, Kunji?
His Holiness' explanation on how grasping of aggregates equals to grasping of I.
Yeah, I don't think His Holiness says equal. Equally, it's not equal. Because when Fiza asked this question, His Holiness answered based on his own experience. One day, look like he realized selflessness of I. Then slowly he studied about his own experience. Then he realized, actually that time, he realized selflessness, gross selflessness. Gross selflessness mean empty of the permanent I, singleness, the unity eyes. He realized the gross selflessness. He didn't realize the subtle selflessness. In order to realize the subtle selflessness, then we must realize selflessness of aggregates. Without realizing selflessness of aggregates, we cannot completely, we must say completely, realize selflessness of I. Because so far, if you have a sense of, clinging, my body is inherent body, then there's no way you can realize selflessness of me, because your body and you is look like true phenomena. Actually, is not actually like two different things. You can make a separate. Therefore, what His Holiness says, he realized the gross selflessness. Then slowly he realized he didn't realize the subtle selflessness. Then he studied furthermore about emptiness, about I, emptiness, about the five aggregates. Then he realized, when he realized emptiness of the five aggregates, then he realized emptiness of, subtle selflessness of I. Not say equal, important. In order to realize selflessness, it is so important to realize selflessness of the five aggregates. Therefore, he quoted from Nagarjuna, so far you have the self-grasping about the five aggregates. You always have self-grasping. Yes. What's the second part?
Second part is, and when His Holiness sees he doesn't exist and fear arises. So, yeah. And how he analyzed the whole is made up of parts. Objectification, but we are to negate objectively.
Therefore, when he realized, the gross selflessness, then he fears, I'm not exist. That time, actually, he didn't realize selflessness. He just realized emptiness of permanent I, emptiness of the singleness I, emptiness of the unity I. Then look at, until now what we feel I is totally we feel I exists permanently, singly, without depending on anything. When he studied, then he realized, oh, I am not there. I am not exist anymore. Then he feels so fear. It's, I think, very common experience who really seriously study about emptiness. Many, I think, Tibetan monks who live in the mountain, when they study about emptiness, meditate emptiness, then sometimes they really feel so fear and scared. I'm not exist. Sometimes they feel, I'm look like falling down. So this is, I think, we have to go through experience. He feels sense of fear because he think I'm no more there. I'm not exist. Of course, then you will fear, right? Yes, next part.
Next question is from Wei Ching. There are two parts to a question.
Mm-hmm.
Some Buddhists suffer serious lung, that is wind disease, after doing serious practices on purification, example, Vajrasattva retreat.
Mm-hmm.
They become very emotional and seem to develop more delusions as they suffer in mind and body. So it seems while heavy negative karma ripen in a less serious ways, after that they also accumulate bad karma due to being emotional and sickness. Can you comment on this?
Okay, I think we have a lot of questions. Also, in the previous question, we have a six, seven question. This question include the previous question. Definitely, I will respond on the next Sunday after the Lamrim class. Because we have a previous question, somebody asked, I simply giving answer. Why in the first two perfection, generosity and ethical discipline, mental accompanied the action of this? Whoever asked this question, please read more. I think there's a misunderstanding. Question number 2, somebody asked, when is anger overcome in the ground and the path completely? So he was saying, I think actually when the Bodhisattva reached to first bhumi, he or she is totally overcome in the ground of the path completely, anger or not? I said no. The manifest, yes, they can manifest in the mind, but not affected. Sometimes, yes, not most of them. Yes, not manifest, but the seed still there. It depends on Bodhisattva. So who reach to the first bhumi, sometimes the anger arises due to the previous habituation. Then can you go through the page number 1552 to 156 debate about what is the root of the virtues being surveyed or cut? This one I think is a very complicated debate. That means simply when when anger arises, it can destroy the positive. It can destroy the virtues. So what kind of virtues can be destroyed? That means I make angry Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva make me angry. I make angry ordinary person. Ordinary person make me angry. Due to different, I think angry has a different level of destroying virtues. So this one important, but I don't think easy to understand. There's a lot of debate. Then the question number 4, the perfection of joy perseverance, page number 188. Also another question, page number 182. is talking about difference between Chinese English. All this answer, so the question, I will respond more precisely on next Sunday. Let's say we have a Lamrim class from 3 to 4:30. Then 4:30 to 5:30 or 5:30, we can have a question answer. Clear? So it's almost 11:30. So thank you so much for attending the class. So far we have a class. Please read, please read as much as you can. Read the textbook. Also try to memorize. Otherwise, the class over, nothing in your mind. Please read as much as you can and try to memorize, some of the important verses. Particularly, His Holiness said, you must try to memorize the three principles of the path. Foundation of all good qualities. Three principles of the paths are very important. Please, everybody try to memorize. I think definitely everybody can memorize. Okay? And thank you so much for attending the class. At the end, so we do the dedication prayers. During our Dharma class, due to our pure motivation, through our visualization, through practice of cultivating bodhicitta, we have accumulated a great amount of merit. All the merit we have accumulated this morning, please dedicate for becoming Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Dedicate the merit to have a better, profound understanding and practice of Dharma, practice of Lamrim. Dedicate those merit to benefit all sentient beings, temporarily, ultimately.